Okay, welcome to Dan Carpenter. I'm Dan Carpenter,
I too am Dan Carpenter.
and we're here to talk today about Dan Carpenter.
Dan Carpenter.
Can we just talk about Dan Carpenter for a second?
If you have the time, I'm listening.
Is he not the greatest kicker you've ever seen in your life?
I honestly thought it was going to take a lot to get Brian Moorman out of my heart, but he did it.
Yeah, I mean, I think, personally, Dan Carpenter, he might be the very best kicker in the league right now, honestly.
I wouldn't say that's a stretch.
I mean, if you look at the amount of points he's putting up for the Bills, he's pretty much our whole team
He pretty
in
much,
terms of scoring.
yeah, he pretty much kicked off like the whole reason we ended up winning yesterday.
Definitely.
You have to keep in mind those first 6 points were him alone.
Yeah, and really the Bills have not scored a whole lot of touchdowns this year, so Dan Carpenter's really been the best.
Yeah.
Honestly, the Bills should stop even trying on offense. Just when they get the ball, field goal.
We saw that he made a 58-yard field goal yesterday to end the game. So basically, we don't even need to worry about 60% of the field.
Mm-hmm.
If he can just get it, we can just kick the entire thing, you know?
I mean, pretty much. I mean, that's the type of kicker he is.
Yep.
I never thought I would say that either. He might be my favorite player on the Bills currently.
And that's saying a lot because you were telling me about an hour ago that you were a huge disbeliever of him probably.
Yeah,
Even the beginning of the season.
Well, the beginning of last season.
Yeah.
I was on the Dan Carpenter train last year because he was great. But yeah, my only memory of Dan Carpenter before he joined the Bills was him missing, I believe, 3 field goals against the Bills when he was with the Dolphins.
Mm-hmm.
So that's not a good first impression. And speaking of people who missed 3 field goals against the Bills, that Detroit Lions kicker
Already released.
already released. I feel bad for him because that was a rough game for him. He wasn't even close on those field goals at all.
And before we get too into things, I just want to say that Jeremy Carpenter isn't here today due to the fact that he is out with Ebola. So, R.I.P. in peace, Jeremy, wherever you are.
Jeremy, just wash your hands as much as you can. Just don't spread the Ebola. We know you're listening. So if you're listening, tweet us or something, whatever.
Jeremy, I can't wait for you to speak in class tomorrow.
Also, Jeremy, I don't know if you were listening at the start of the show, but we actually played Jeremy by Pearl Jam.
It's our ode to you.
We just hope you get better, Jeremy, from that Ebola. I mean, it's crazy that you were the first person in the United States to get it.
Second. All right, so back to the Detroit Lions.
Back to the shack.
Back to the shack.
Weezer?
No, just Shaquille O'Neal. I'm ready for some Shaquille O'Neal talk.
Yeah, I mean, I think Shaq would be pretty good at football.
You think so?
He's huge.
Okay, you remember that show he did, Shaq Versus?
Yeah.
What was his win-loss record on that show?
I don't know. I didn't watch it.
I don't think anyone did.
I don't think Shaq watched it.
No.
No, he probably did. He seems like the type of person who would maybe watch his own stuff. I mean, that's not really saying that much, though, because I listen to my own radio show.
He probably
Did you listen to the show when we're on it?
Yeah, I listened to the one from last week just to get an idea of what it sounded like and how it was edited.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's kind of weird to hear your own voice talking, I guess, but I think it's a good thing to listen to your own stuff or watch your own stuff just to.
I bet Shaq watched a special edition of his show where all the commercials were either removed or replaced with his own Icy Hot commercial.
Or the Buick commercial that he's in.
Or the Buick
There's
commercial.
no way he's actually fitting in that car.
Yeah, no, they had to they broke his legs or something.
Or just, I don't even know. Because, I don't know, Buicks, those type of Buicks aren't that big. There's no way a 7-foot, 400-pound man is fitting in that car.
It's bigger than most luxury vehicles. Most stylish, too. Oh, sometime. That one?
Yeah, that one. Oh, boy.
All right, so back to the Lions. Yes.
Back to the Lions. What about the Lions?
Just that kicker that he was already released. And
Yeah. It's got to be tough to be a kicker. Just think about it. You have 2 jobs. No, you have 1 job, actually. You kick the ball. You kick the ball for field goals, extra points, kickoffs.
Yeah.
But if you make 1 mistake, your career's over.
Yeah, anything you've done up until that point is
It doesn't
erased.
matter, yeah.
Bills fans who were alive during the Super Bowl era probably know that better than anyone.
Yeah, with Scott Norwood.
Because neither of us, like, we were both born at the tail end of the Super Bowl year, so
Yeah,
we
but
weren't around.
We
for
weren't
it,
watching football.
let alone like we wouldn't even remembered it if we was on.
Yeah.
But yeah, like from everything I've heard up until that moment, he was a great kicker. And it's just all gone.
All down the toilet, pretty much.
Yeah,
Like Ebola.
like Ebola. Speaking of Ebola, do you see the Jacksonville Jaguars mascot?
Oh my God.
Okay, let me explain this for anyone who's listening that didn't see the picture. The Jaguars were playing the Steelers yesterday, and as we all know, the Steelers have that terrible towel, the yellow
Yep.
towel that fans wave around whenever they want to see the Steelers like get into the end zone or whatever, or
Yeah.
after they score a touchdown. So, anyways, the Jacksonville Jaguars mascot comes out with the terrible towel. In one hand, he has the towel. He's on a Segway too, so like
He was on a Segway.
yeah.
Ooh.
So like, just as if this mental picture isn't enough, he's on a Segway,
A Jaguar on a Segway holding a towel.
wearing a Jaguars jersey, and in the other hand, a giant piece of poster board that just says "Towels carry Ebola."
Who in the Jacksonville Jaguars organization thought that was a good idea?
Probably the tarp.
Yeah, the tarp is making all the decisions right now.
If, whoever the Jaguars are playing next week, if they're smart, they bring a sign that says "Towels carry Ebola, but so do tarps." Like that should be a sign the fans bring in.
I'm sure somebody will. They'll get it taken away, though.
Probably. Good for them though.
I'm surprised no one took away the sign from the Jaguar.
You know,
Uh,
someone thought that was a good idea, so
I mean, we've already made a couple Ebola jokes, I guess.
yes.
But we're also not the Jacksonville Jaguar.
No, we have a lot less to lose
Yeah.
than a major. We can make all the jokes about the Jaguars or anyone we want. Like that's still a major organization
Yeah.
with a lot of stuff to lose.
Exactly. And like, I don't know. It's sort of a big issue right now, Ebola.
Yeah, I mean,
We're pretty heavy on the Dan Carpenter and Ebola talk right now.
I'm sure if you made a joke about like ISIS or something, it would be a lot more severe. But you know,
Yeah.
Ebola isn't really a laughing matter. People around the country are still sick from it.
Yeah. And aren't the Jaguars, I'm pretty sure they've lost every game this year. I
It
believe they're
wouldn't
0-5.
surprise me, but let me get an official check on this one.
We'll chickadee check ourselves before we riggedy wreck ourselves, as Ice Cube once said.
I'm gonna call you out on that. That he did not say chickadee check or riggedy wreck. Do you think he said check yourself before you wreck yourself?
All right, okay, I'm gonna look that up. You look up
They are 0-5.
0-5. Okay, I'm pretty sure it's chickadee check. Ice Cube.
The
check
Titans
yourself.
are doing better than them with a 1-4 record.
And the Titans are not very good, I would say.
No, they are not.
Who they blew out week 1 though? They blew out somebody that was decent, I think. I'm not remembering off the top of my head.
Not to be outdone, Oakland is 0-4.
Yeah, they had a bye this week.
Yeah.
Oakland's not very good either.
No.
All right. I wonder if those two teams play each other this year. Who do you think is worse, Oakland or Jacksonville?
I don't know, and you can't even really like rely on like who has a more hilarious lineage of being awful.
Mm-hmm.
I'd probably say Jacksonville.
I feel like Oakland has more of an excuse because they spent a lot of money, had no cap room, and they traded away a lot of their first-round picks. So they have more of an excuse to be bad just because of that, and like their GM didn't have a whole lot to work with.
Yeah.
Jacksonville, on the other hand, they've just blown every single one of their picks pretty much. They took Blaine Gabbert over J.J. Watt.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think anyone really saw J.J. Watt being as good as he is, but I don't think there was any doubt he was going to be a good player.
No, J.J. Watt's true potential didn't really come into fruition until like
3 years ago.
Yeah.
He was really good right away.
Yeah.
But like coming out of college, nobody necessarily thought he was going to be. maybe the best defensive player of his generation.
Yeah. I don't know. Let's remove this from who's the worst at the moment, but what do you think the most hilarious franchise in all of football has been ever?
Jacksonville's definitely up there.
They are. Like Oakland has the advantage of having
they won a Super Bowl.
Yeah, but they also have present day, they have notoriously awful fans. Jacksonville just has
Wait, what do you mean by awful?
Rowdy.
Oh, yeah.
Violent almost.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Jacksonville, they're just they don't have fans to be awful.
Yeah. Man, it's got to be rough to be a Jacksonville Jaguar fan.
I feel yeah.
Because, one, the team is terrible. And two, everyone makes fun of them for not only the team and the fans.
Mm-hmm.
Other parts of the country, I'm sure it's the same for Bills fans. But around here, it's everyone's a Bills fan, you know?
Do you think Jacksonville is the most hilariously bad franchise in any sport?
Call back from last week if anyone listened to it last week.
Clip show.
I don't know.
They were short-lived, but I have a team that can give them a run for their money.
Okay.
The Atlanta Thrashers.
The Atlanta Thrashers, they were pretty bad.
They had some really good players, Ilya Kovalchuk was on there.
Danny Heatley, right? He was pretty good.
And that alone, those were probably two of their biggest players that they had. Let's take a look at what happened to both of them after leaving the Thrashers. No, wait, Danny Heatley was still on the Thrashers.
Well, when
the car accident happened.
That car accident. Yep.
And that's why he left the Thrashers, because he killed one of their star players. The market didn't respect him. They could give all the reasons they want for it, but the market did not respect him. And then Ilya Kovalchuk, he leaves for the New Jersey Devils, gets signed to some obscene contract. And then after a couple of seasons, he goes and plays over in Russia.
Yeah, he's playing in Russia.
So they have to buy out the rest of his contract.
Yeah, that's the thing about hockey. Those contracts are ridiculous.
New Jersey got burned on that real bad.
Yeah, why would you sign someone to a 10-year contract? They're not going to play. Idea. And by the way, it is chickadee check. It's not rickety wreck, though, I don't think. At least that's not what Rap Genius is telling me. But it is chickadee check yourself before you wreck yourself.
Fair enough.
I mean, I think the Jaguars are definitely up there for one of the most laughable franchises.
Another reason I'm going to throw in the Thrashers in this mix, I mean, obviously, they're not a hockey team anymore. Mm-hmm. They've since moved to Winnipeg in 2010, 2011. But they had a fan-organized support rally to keep them in the area, the season before they went to Winnipeg. And the whole idea was going to be all the fans show up, it's going to be this huge thing, it's going to save the team, keep them in there. If that happened in Buffalo,
everyone would come, yeah.
More than just the arena capacity of 16,000 or 15 or whatever it is would have showed up.
Mm-hmm.
Atlanta, I think it was somewhere probably just under 400 people showed up.
400 people.
It was so bad to the point that the people called it the Great Atlanta Tailgate.
Well, Atlanta has that reputation sort of not being really a great sports town. I think the Hawks have struggled to sell out. And actually, their owner recently got in trouble. It wasn't that recent. It was probably a month ago. He said some racist things about the fan base. I mean, that definitely doesn't help you selling tickets. But, I mean, they didn't really get fans to show up. I think Atlanta, it's sort of like Miami in a way. There's just so many other things you can do that maybe people aren't necessarily that interested in sports.
Yeah.
I mean, Buffalo, what else is there to do?
Yeah, it's unfortunate, really, because, one of my best friends, he's a fan of the Bulldogs, and he's a fan of... Are they in Atlanta? I know they're in Georgia.
Georgia Bulldogs, yeah.
But are they specifically in Atlanta?
I'm not sure. I don't know.
Okay, well, anyways, I know... For the sake of this argument, we'll say they are.
Yeah, they're in Atlanta. It's true.
Yeah. He's a fan of the Bulldogs and even a fan of, the Falcons to an extent. But I don't... He's told me that the fans are loyal, but, I don't know if they're...
I think the Falcons fans are loyal.
Yeah.
They're known for having, a pretty crazy fan base.
Yeah.
But, the Hawks, the Thrashers, those type of teams... I think the Braves have pretty good fans, as far as I know. I
think the Braves fans are I think that's a fairly strong fan base.
Well, I feel like baseball is a little bit bigger down south anyway, though. Maybe.
A little bit. I feel like you
maybe
have to,
not. I don't know.
I feel like you either have to be like, yeah, I think for baseball you have to be in a city where the team does good.
Yeah, like everyone around here is a Yankees fan for the most part.
Yeah.
But like, I don't know. Are people really watching the Miami Marlins at this point?
No. And even if you go to like Cleveland, like there's Indians fans, like you don't have to look too hard for them. But like the general idea I felt like is they treat it like we treat the Bisons.
Really?
Like
That's not good for your professional team, you know?
yeah. Especially a team like they've
been decent.
The Indians haven't been
terrible.
great really, but like yeah, they have some pretty big name players. They're the kind of team that like they'll get a big name player every year or two, and then those are the ones that go up to like the bigger leagues.
Yeah, pretty much. Like they'll sign with the Yankees or something like that, you know?
I feel like baseball and basketball are the two biggest sports where there is that problem
Definitely.
where like star player comes up and then either we'll use for baseball the Yankees have to swoop them up or the basketball what would be the Heat probably.
The Lakers
It
probably.
was the Lakers like
yeah,
10 years
Knicks.
ago, but like
Before,
probably the Heat now.
Well, for the time being, it's now, but not so much anymore because LeBron left. That was part of
Yeah.
their big draw, I would say. But I mean, for the NBA, it's the big cities pretty much.
Yeah.
Like everyone wants to go and play in New York, LA, Miami, cities like that. Like for the most part, free agents aren't signing in San Antonio.
Yeah.
San Antonio is the Spurs. I think are probably the best run sports franchise of the last 20 years. Because all those guys that they've drafted, they've developed them. They stay. They take less money. They mesh really well together. And like, you never hear about a problem with a Spurs player. And if you do, that player's not on the Spurs for very long.
Yeah.
I mean, year in, year out, that's a really consistent team. And obviously, they're still really, really good. And they're doing it with old players.
Yeah.
Tim Duncan's 40 years old, pretty much.
Yeah, he's up there.
By
He's basketball standards.
Yeah. He's been playing a long time.
Yeah.
Like he I believe he came in the league in 1996. I was 3 at the time.
Yeah.
So you were probably on the same age, right? 2, 3.
2 and 96. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, they've been a really consistent team. Buffalo Bills have been a really consistently bad
Consistently
team.
bad. Yeah.
But I feel like in terms of talking about the worst franchises, I don't think the Bills are in that conversation necessarily because we did have some success.
Yes.
Like, we had OJ. We won the AFL championships. 4 straight Super Bowls. Jim Kelly. Andre Reed, Thurman Thomas.
I don't think the past 15 years can completely negate what happened in the previous 40.
Now, when you look at a team like the Jaguars, do you remember a particular Jaguars team being really good?
No.
I don't either. I remember them having somewhat decent players. They had Jimmy Smith. He was pretty good.
I was just going to say, I can barely name a handful of decent Jaguars players.
Mark Brunell, he was okay. Fred Taylor, Maurice Jones-Drew.
He's probably the only one I could name.
Yeah, I mean, those are the big guys, and if those are the big guys, I think you're in trouble.
Yeah.
Because those guys are fine. I'm not going to say they're bad players or we're bad players, but really, I mean, you look at the good teams the past couple of years. You look at teams like Colts, Broncos. You look at Peyton Manning, Andrew Luck. Those are really good players.
Mm-hmm.
You look at the Patriots, obviously, with Tom Brady.
Yeah.
All those great players on the Patriots. And, I mean, really, other than that, you look at newer teams like Seattle, how they're building their team.
Mm-hmm.
Like the Jaguars just haven't been able to build their team in the last almost 10 years.
Yeah.
They just have not been good.
So you thinking Jaguars would be probably the worst
Yeah.
franchise of all time?
I'm sure there's worse, but of one that's lasted as long as they've been around since 95. They're
Yeah.
pretty bad.
So I'd say probably. They probably
If they're
take
not the
cake.
worst, they're bottom 5.
I'd say bottom 3.
Bottom 3.
Honestly, if it wasn't for the Thrashers, I would say probably.
The worst.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's fair to say.
Especially since the Thrashers, like, since leaving Atlanta,
Have they been good?
yeah, the Jets haven't been like, wow, like, this is an amazing team, but
They at least look like a franchise?
They've made the playoffs almost every year since becoming a thing, and the amount of fan support they get back.
Well, see, they're in Canada now.
I mean, granted, they're in Canada, which is the country for hockey.
Yeah.
But, like, I don't think that's what it took. I think they just needed, like, to focus on their strengths and figure out what they were doing wrong to get support behind them.
And part of it, I think, is the team has to know when to stop being mediocre.
Mm-hmm.
At a certain point, you have to bottom out.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what the Spurs did to get Tim Duncan. He was drafted first overall. They were tanking that year, if I remember. Well, I don't remember because I was 2 years old, but based on what I've read, that's what was going on.
Yeah.
It was them in Boston tanking for Tim Duncan, and obviously the Spurs ended up with Tim Duncan.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, trying to think of other examples of that. Well, Cleveland wasn't good until they got LeBron. They were like a Jaguars type franchise before LeBron, pretty much.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
They had some good years in the 80s, but other than that, they really were pretty terrible.
Yeah.
Then LeBron comes along, and that really changes everything. When you get a certain player like that, I mean, it can make your franchise much, much better immediately. And I feel like the Jaguars, they're never bad enough that they get the number 1 pick,
Yeah.
but they're also never outside the top 10, it seems. And they always blow the pick. Like they get Blaine Gabbert. They get that a couple years ago they drafted a guy named Tyson Alau.
I vaguely remember this, yeah.
He's not good.
No.
Luke Jokel, that was their pick last year. Well, I don't think last year was a good draft, but he got hurt immediately. I don't know how he's doing this year because I don't watch the Jaguars and he's a left tackle. So
yeah. Anyways, back to the Bills.
The Bills. Dan Carpenter.
Yes, but let's talk about Kyle Orton too.
I feel like we should talk about Uncle Rico for a minute here.
Yes.
Dave Grohl.
Over the mountains.
Randy Orton. So Kyle Orton, I was actually... Well, here, I'll go through my emotions with this game. Started the game off, the Bills looked really, really bad. They weren't moving the ball, lots of sloppy penalties.
Not even starting off, like, well into the third.
Yeah, they were looking bad.
Yeah.
Then all of a sudden, Kyle Orton sort of, for whatever reason, just started...
Producing.
I don't know if it was play call. I think part of it was because we were just running the ball first, second down, and then it was 3rd and 20 because we had penalties and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then Kyle Orton in the third quarter just really started throwing the ball well. And he was getting to Sammy. I thought Sammy Watkins was really, really good in this game. Like, his hands are unbelievable, especially for a rookie.
Mm-hmm.
And, Jeremy was saying last week that Sammy was dropping the ball a lot. And you didn't see that this week. I mean, I think part of that, though, is just having the ball on target.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm not going to say Kyle Orton is Peyton Manning here, but in terms of getting the ball on target, he did a pretty decent job yesterday. And, I feel like he's an improvement over Manuel for right now. I don't think Kyle Orton's the long-term answer.
No, he...
Definitely not. I think he can be the answer for 2 years.
He's not old, but, like, he's
31, I think.
He's got some years on him.
Yeah. And just, like, he's never proven he's anything more than just an average starting quarterback. And I think it's fine to be an average quarterback. You can get in the playoffs with an average quarterback, for sure.
So you think he's a good placeholder until Emmanuel, like, fully, like, comes into his own?
Do I think Manuel will actually fully come into his own, though? I don't know. That's tough to say because, we've already seen 14 games out of him, and there's only a few games that really stuck out to me that I was impressed by Manuel. Really, the only one that really sticks out to me was last year against Carolina.
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah, that was the one where he threw the touchdown as time expired to Stevie Johnson in the end zone. That was a great game. I thought he played really well in that game.
You said something interesting about Sammy Watkins, and he really is like he's pretty much a highlight reel.
He's amazing.
I mean,
I love watching
for as much as
Watkins.
we love talking about Dan Carpenter on the show, I think he might go down as being the Bills' star player of the year.
He could be. I mean, if Orton can stay healthy and keep getting him the ball, then I think Sammy Watkins could have a monster season.
Yeah.
Just because you look at the 2 games where he's been really good, and he's been really, really good in those 2 games. The other games he was fine, but like the ball wasn't like going to him that well. So, I mean, it'll be interesting to see if he can do 2 straight weeks of really good production. Who do we play next week?
The Pats.
The Patriots. They have a guy named Darrell Revis.
I've heard of him.
That might be a little difficult for Sammy.
Just a smidge.
Darrell Revis is a pretty good player. That's an understatement. Darrell Revis is a really, really good player. I don't think he's the same player as he was with the Jets, but he's still a top 5 corner in this league. There's no doubt about that. And yeah, I mean, Sammy, I think he can do pretty good. I just feel like his quickness and his hands just set him apart from a lot of different players. And he actually might be the most talented wide receiver the Bills have ever had.
Oh, yeah.
Based on physical talent and the way he can catch the ball. Like, Andre Reed was really good, but I don't think he had the athleticism that Sammy has.
Watkins is really good with like those like goofy catches where like
like
any other
catches.
one wouldn't catch him, but like the ones where it bounces off all your fingers and then he like just single-handedly palms it.
He had a crazy catch
He's
yesterday.
the king of those.
I don't even know how he held on to it. He was like sort of fumbling it in his hands. He caught it with one hand. He barely had it. He was getting tackled. And he still hung on to it.
Keep in mind, that was like the biggest takeaway from training camp for some people.
Yeah, just
the fact that he did a one-handed catch.
Yeah, he can just catch anything, really. And that's impressive for a rookie. When you have that type of hands already, that's insane. And another reason I think he might be the best wide receiver that the Bills, or most talented. I'm not going to say he's the best, because you got to play in the league to be the best.
He's give him a couple of years.
5 games into the season. But in terms of talent, like Eric Moulds was good, but once again, not the same type of athleticism. And other than that, I mean, the other wide receivers we had, Peerless Price, okay. Lee Evans, he was fine. But I don't know, Sammy Watkins. We drafted him 4th overall for a reason. He's going to be a really good player, I think.
Oh, yeah. I'd say it's worth what we gave up for him.
I certainly hope so. Because, I mean, if the Bills can make the playoffs within the next 2 years, I think it's worth it.
Yeah.
If the Bills don't make the playoffs, it's not worth it to me.
Mm-hmm.
Just because if the Bills don't make the playoffs, it's going to come down to one thing and one thing only this year. It's going to be quarterback play.
Yeah.
Because I think the Bills have a top... I think the Bills have a top 5 defense this year.
Absolutely.
If they're not top 5, they're a top 10 defense. And we really made Detroit look terrible on offense yesterday.
Which Detroit's defense,
they had a good defense.
Yeah, they're not
really
not
good.
anything to cast off. They're pretty great.
Oh, are you talking about offense or defense?
Defense.
Lions defense?
Wait, you confused me.
Are you talking about the Lions defense or the Bills defense or the Lions offense?
Well, obviously the Bills defense was good. But then I meant the
you're talking
Lions.
Lions defense.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
Are we good?
Yeah, we're good.
We're on the same page here?
The Lions defense was insane yesterday, I thought. Because Ndamukong Suh, that guy can play football.
An unrelated note, if I hear one more Orton here's a Sue pun, I'm probably going to lose it.
I actually don't get that.
Oh, like the Dr. Seuss book, Orton here's a who?
Oh, I get it. That makes sense, yeah.
I get it now. Okay.
Okay. Oh, man.
But yeah, the Lions defense isn't... It's not one to be like... What are you doing?
What?
Okay. You good?
Yeah, I'm good.
You good over there?
Yeah.
All right. I kind of lost my point now.
The Lions defense was really good yesterday. Like, they haven't been a good defense the last couple of years, really. But you really saw the talent on the defensive line yesterday because the Bills could not run the ball. And their secondary, which has been a really weak point for them, and they've been really terrible, and actually looked pretty decent yesterday, I thought. Sure, they gave up 300 yards passing, but that's really because we couldn't run the ball on them. Fred Jackson was fine, but C.J. Spiller just had 7 yards, 9 carries.
Another thing I saw, it's not... especially important, but I saw a statistic that we did end up breaking 300 yards yesterday, right?
Yeah.
Passing. Okay.
Yep.
There was
He was the first in a couple of years.
it was like
Since,
first in like 17? No.
No,
like games.
Games. I don't know.
I think it was like the first in 17 games or something.
The last person to throw for 300 yards for the Bills was actually Ryan Fitzpatrick. So that's 3 quarterbacks ago, if you think about it.
Yeah. Which in Bills terms is like 2 games.
Pretty much. Because, we've had Manuel, we've had Thad Lewis, Jeff Toole. And, then Fitzpatrick.
Jeremy, not here to defend Jeff Toole.
Yeah, Jeff Toole.
He loves him some Toole time.
I'm not a fan of Jeff Toole, to be honest. I don't see anything.
No.
I mean, he's fine. He's your third-string quarterback, like the Bills have him. But in terms of him actually starting a game, I would not want to see that anytime soon.
No.
And you can almost argue the same thing about EJ at this point.
Yeah, it hurts to say because keep in mind he was our first round draft pick 2 years ago, which it's upsetting, but yeah, he's not. I mean, he's not where he needs to be to support a team.
He could get better, but usually when quarterbacks get better, they get better with decision making. I don't think decision making is his problem. I think he's just really, really inaccurate.
Yeah.
And that's something that most players
happen.
Can't fix.
No.
It's either you got it or you don't. Pretty much. He's got the arm strength, he's got the physical talent, and I think he's an okay decision maker for the most part. He's a little timid, I would say, in the pocket. Like, not very gutsy.
No.
With Kyle Orton, though, you're getting a really gutsy player. He's a little limited physically, though, I'd say.
Do you think he's too gutsy to a fault, maybe?
I mean, I don't know. It's hard to say because I haven't seen him play that much in the last, 4 years because he hasn't played since Denver, pretty much.
Yeah.
Which was a while ago. That was last time he really started was significant time anyway.
Probably
was Tebow, the Tebow year.
Yeah.
When Tebow was tearing it up.
When did he join the Broncos?
Tebow or Orton?
Orton. I'm thinking.
I want to say 2009, 2008. Yeah. It was right when Jay Cutler joined the Bears because I believe they did some sort of trade. Terrible trade.
No, that did not pay off well for.
I mean,
anyone really.
I think Kyle Orton's fine, but Jay Cutler is a good quarterback.
Yeah,
not a great one. He's good though.
Yeah,
you would take Jay Cutler on your team for sure.
Yeah.
You know what's interesting? I thought the Bills are actually paying Kyle Orton a significant amount of money. Almost $5 million a year, and if you think about it, for a guy that came in as a backup, that's a lot of money to be paying a backup. Do you think this was the Bills' plan the entire time, to put in Orton as soon as Manuel was not up to par? Do you think they foresaw that? Maybe.
I think they definitely foresaw it. I don't know if they thought it was going to be this soon.
Yeah.
Usually, at least in my experience as being a Bills fan. If something's wrong with the Bills organization, it usually takes either an extreme amount of vocal disdain or like it takes a long time to get something like a change made.
Yeah.
Because keep in mind, we're a team that did not even fire Dick Duran until like a billboard was put up on the
God.
What was that, the 190?
Something like that.
Yeah.
Dick Duran was such a terrible coach. I hated him.
And it took forever to get rid of him.
He was with the Bills for so long. It was I think it was at least 4 years.
Yeah.
And I don't remember any of those years being good. I think we were like 6-10, 7-9, pretty much. And
oh, sorry, excuse us. Someone just decided to print something in here during the middle of our show.
I don't even know why you'd print to this printer over here just because this door is locked. Doesn't make any sense.
Holla at your boy, printer.
Oh, man, that printer really got me off topic. I don't remember what I was saying.
That printer is probably the Dick Duran of the show.
Yeah, probably. Oh, that's right, about Dick Duran. I always felt that Dick Duran never showed any emotion. Like, it looked like he was sleeping on the sideline sometimes. Because the last couple of years he was wearing those sunglasses, and I could have sworn the guy was just sleeping. He just showed no emotion ever. He never spoke to anyone.
No, he didn't.
And just no personality or anything.
He just seemed so removed from everything that it was... it would like you can't run a football team if you're going to be like that.
Yeah, I mean, I think some of those guys that have too much passion, I guess, for the game can be bad, but you got to show at least a little bit. I feel like with Marone, he's got a nice middle ground. Like, he's calm, but he'll also like show emotion when you need to.
Yeah.
And I think the Bills actually have some decent leadership on their team because there was a point yesterday where they showed Fred Jackson on the sideline just like pumping everybody up. Speaking of Fred Jackson, I cashed him out at work. Shout out to Fred if you're listening.
What up, Fred? He's listening. Like, let's be real here. He's totally listening.
He and Dan Carpenter are right now listening to this show and just being like, we love these guys.
We need to get on. Guys, if you're listening, hit us up. Tweet at us.
Dan Carpenter, please. We're begging you. It's literally my goal to be followed by you on Twitter by the end of the
You don't even need to follow all of us. Just follow Connor.
Yeah, I'm on that train.
He's on the Twitter thing.
And I feel like this is the only show that actually really talks about the real issues here. Why Dan Carpenter is not the MVP already.
Didn't they just put up his name in gold on the Ring of Honor at
they should.
the Bills? It was either him or Ralph Wilson. I don't remember which one. I get them confused a lot.
They're both legends.
They are.
Dan Carpenter, man. If he doesn't get MVP this year, I'm rioting. We're going to start a riot in Buffalo.
We are. It's going to be 2 people. Perhaps 3. I don't know. Depends how fast Jeremy recovers.
Well, we're going to get those Dan Carpenter jerseys and or T-shirt jerseys.
T-shirtsies.
I like the T-shirt jerseys. Are you on that train?
T-shirt jerseys are such an underappreciated thing.
They really
I
are.
find in real life. Like, I have a closet that you could probably just fill it up with They're not very durable.
That is a problem with
Like, you wash them enough and, like, the number starts fading off, and
Yep.
it's like, what am I even wearing? So you do have to kind of recycle them pretty quickly, or donate them to, like, Goodwill. But, like, for the time being, they're pretty great.
Yeah, definitely.
And that's another good thing about T-shirt jerseys. You can go to the Goodwill and find some hilarious T-shirt jerseys.
Well, and jerseys in general.
That too.
I own some hilarious jerseys to own, actually.
Okay, because I'm pretty good at this too. What's the most hilarious, like, irrelevant jersey that you own?
Quinnen Griffin.
Oh, wow.
He played for the Broncos. He was a running back. For some reason, I thought it was a good idea to buy this Quinnen Griffin jersey. I don't know why. I think it was at TJ Maxx for like $15. But this was back when Quinnen Griffin was like a thing that people thought was going to be good.
That's a pretty good one. My favorites are I got a couple from each sport. For football, I own a Bills TO jersey.
Ooh, that's a good one.
It's not like the official one with like the sewn on numbers, but it's like
it's one of the knockoff ones?
It's like one of the silk ones that they like, not silk, but like the ones they sell at Kohl's.
Yeah.
The season he left, I got one for probably like $20 maybe.
$20 on one of those? Ooh.
Yeah.
That's questionable.
But
my dad
it's not
actually
bad,
has one of
like
those.
a T-shirt jersey would probably be like $20 too.
Oh, that's true. My dad actually has a JP Lossman one of those too. He used to wear that proudly.
That's pretty questionable. Well, no, mine was after he left and we knew like it was a joke.
Oh, yeah.
I have a Tony Gonzalez Chiefs jersey. Also,
that's a good jersey.
Also found it at Goodwill, like $2.
That's a good jersey.
It's super faded, but like it gets the job done.
Mm-hmm.
For basketball, here's one of my favorite stories ever. Do you remember the Cheektowaga Super Flea?
I actually never been there. I've heard much about it, though.
It closed, unfortunately, in May. It was where dreams are born, dreams are made, and heroes become legends.
Sounds like a video game.
Yes. We went there on the very last day. This isn't part of the story. This is just to give you an idea what kind of place the Super Flea was. The ceiling was just leaking. Like, I don't know what it was leaking. It was just leaking brown.
Never a good sign.
No, and it was just in, like, open totes. Like, the totes you can buy at Target to, like, put under your bed.
Yeah.
It was just leaking into one of those. And people were throwing their garbage in there, and it just smelled awful. There was a room with just... I don't know what. It was empty, because they were all, like, in, like, little, like, makeshift, like, stands.
Okay.
They were, like, rooms, but they were open.
Huh.
And it was just miscellaneous, like, it almost looked like the insulation you put, like the pink, like, fiberglass insulation,
Yeah.
just strewn across the floor. Like, just everywhere.
Sounds like a disaster
And
movie.
on the side of it, it said free cotton candy. Like, I have no idea what I just saw. I believe I still have a picture of it to this day. I'm going to send it to Connor, and then we can we put that up as the cover for this?
Oh, we could, yeah.
That's what was happening that day.
That does not look like cotton candy.
I let me tell you, after 4 bites, I was full.
Please tell me you didn't actually eat that.
No.
Well, that's probably a good thing.
Hashtag regrets. Okay. And then another thing about the Cheektowaga Super Flea is the building is still there. Despite being such an awful dump, they can't actually tear it down. They're putting in a super Walmart there because that seemed like
that's terrible.
That seemed like the next progression. They can't actually tear it down due to the fact that if they tear down the building, it will displace all of the rats and make them move into homes into Cheektowaga. Let me repeat that. If they tear down the building, the rat infestation of all the rats living there will get so bad in Cheektowaga,
Super Flea.
they have to wait for the rats to die out.
Super Flea is literally the perfect name for that place, it sounds.
Pretty much.
They probably had Super Fleas there at one point.
Probably. Okay, so anyways, back to the Jersey story. I went
Back
there
to the shack.
I went there with my cousin probably 2 years ago, and we found this guy selling jerseys. And he's a huge Sabres fan, and he's a huge jersey collector. So he was looking for, like, old Sabres players from 70s, 80s, 90s, whatever. They had a Shaq jersey from the Miami Heat.
Oh, too bad it wasn't like Cleveland or the Suns.
I know.
Something.
Something hilarious.
Or Boston. Remember he was with the Celtics?
Yeah. It was probably like a 4XL. So he bought...
Life size.
He was checking that one out. And I saw a LeBron jersey from the Cavs. So this was 2 years
Unburned.
ago. He was not with the Cavs at that point.
Uh-huh.
And
now
then-
you got it.
And he has the same number. Yes. But he
that's
cut us
great.
a deal. He's like, yeah, I'll give you guys these 2 jerseys for like $30. They weren't bootleg. They were
that's a good
authentic.
deal.
They were authentic.
With like the sewn-on numbers?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, there you go.
I actually went during his Heat days when he was in the playoffs. I wore it to Doves.
I would wear that now.
Yeah. I mean, you have to kind of like tuck it in or wear, because if you wear shorts with it, like it looks like you're just like going pantsless that day. But like you have to kind of like tuck it in or like rubber band the back of it or something.
Well, I mean, as long as it
So
works.
you look like
know?
you're playing a powder puff football game. But like, yeah. So yeah.
Tucked in jerseys.
And then he actually came back to the Cavs with the same number. So I now own an official LeBron Cavs jersey.
There you go.
Yeah, right?
That's much better than paying full price for one.
Hell yeah.
Because full price jerseys, like for any sport, those are expensive.
For hockey, I think they're like $170 now.
Really. I know for football to get the ones with the sewn-on numbers, it's $150.
That seems too much.
It does. Because, I mean, it's a piece of clothing at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And plus, I don't actually really wear jerseys ever. Like, not even when I'm watching sports. I just kind of wear my regular clothes.
Yeah, it's unless I'm going to the game or something like.
Yeah, that's when I would wear a jersey.
It's just such a huge investment to make for the Bills, who really haven't had any like major investment players in the past couple of years.
Like, that's the problem with the Bills too. You're just afraid that those guys aren't going to stay. Like I had a Willis McGahee jersey. I had a Travis Henry Sears jersey.
Are you his child?
Probably.
Are you one of his children?
Probably one of his 27 children.
Shout out to you and your 80 other brothers and sisters.
Well, there's no point of shouting him out because he's in prison right now.
Well, I'm sure he's listening. I'm sure it's part of his punishment that he has to listen to the show.
Probably.
Yeah, and then for hockey, I don't know how much you know about hockey, but I'll just name. I'll just name some stuff off, anyways. Roberto Luongo, that name ringing any bells? Him from the Canucks. Yeah. Which, as you know, he was a fantastic goalie, but like
with the Canucks, he wasn't that great.
No, he was pretty good with the Canucks.
Well, when they started, yeah.
When he got to the playoffs, he just
was terrible.
Choked so immensely that you could have started anyone from your local high school, and they probably would have done better than him.
That's not a good thing.
No.
They pay him a lot of money too.
And then I have the same cousin who bought the Shaq jersey. I don't know where he found it, but he found the 1997 All-Star Game replica jersey. There's no name on it, but there
That's a
doesn't
weird
need
jersey
to be.
to have.
It's such like an obscure jersey. Like, it's great.
Basketball jerseys, I didn't really have a whole lot. Oh, I have a Quinn Richardson jersey from the Suns. Most people probably wouldn't know who Quinn Richardson is.
No.
He was borderline All-Star in like 2005, 2006. But like the average fan would not know Quinn Richardson. Have an old Ben Wallace jersey with the Pistons. He was good though. Solid afro as well.
Yeah.
Just solid.
It was a.
They need to bring the afro back. I feel like
There's not enough sports that properly utilize afros.
or my favorite sports haircut of all time, flat top. I'm talking like Will Smith style flat top.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like the kid
That's
in
the
play.
best. Maybe not. I wouldn't go that far.
Not that high up.
Not that high up, but yeah, I think that's actually sort of coming back a bit. Like Iman Shumpert from the Knicks had a pretty good flat top going. Then it got kind of weird. Then he got rid of it. Then now it's back again.
I feel like a flat top has there has to be a lot of upkeep on that one.
Yeah, because you got to keep it sort of like flat
You got to keep it perfectly
and
flat.
like square, because otherwise it just looks kind of weird.
Yeah.
Man, if I could grow a flat top, I would definitely rock the flat top.
You know who could probably rock a solid flat top?
Dan Carpenter.
Close. Danny Brown.
Oh yeah,
He could probably rock an amazing flat top.
he's got some interesting hair. Danny Brown.
He's got a lot. He's got an interesting everything.
If you don't know who Danny Brown is, I would just Google
Check him out.
He's a good rapper.
Children, especially under the age of 18, check him out.
I wouldn't go that far.
Bump him at your dinner table.
Well, he's got a couple of songs that are kid friendly. I think "Grown Up" is pretty tame
Yeah.
for a rap song. That's a good song. We should get that in the system here.
We should. There's a lot of songs we need in that system.
Definitely.
We need Death Grips.
I've heard about Death Grips. I don't really know too much about them.
Imagine just a solid wall of noise with someone yelling at you. That's Death Grips.
I'll have to check them out because I've heard a lot about them. Should we go to a quick break, you think?
And time for a break.
All right. Well, we'll be back in a couple minutes, and we're going to play some Beastie Boys.
Ayo.
How does Brass Monkey sound to you, Evan?
It's perfect.
All right, cool.
What do you want to talk about when we come back? Like, Connor,
Oh, man.
Connor, you forgot to. Now no one on the podcast is going to know what we were talking about.
All right, we'll give a quick recap. We were talking about 2 Chainz because we just played a 2 Chainz song with Juicy J and Lil Wayne. Bands Make 'Em Dance.
He told me it was REM.
I did not. That's
He
a lie.
did. He did.
Lie.
He did.
Lie. Fine. I did.
Okay.
No, I didn't.
And then I was just saying that 2 Chainz is what the rap community needs now. Because you see all these rappers living the rock star lifestyle, talking about money, women, drugs. And then here comes 2 Chainz. He's like, hey, guys, you don't need to live in excess.
Yeah, he's a humble guy.
I have 2 Chainz. I could have 7. I could have 14. I could have 21. I could have 28. I could have 35. I could have 42. I could have 49. I could have 56. Okay.
57 as well. He could have 57.
He could have 57. Anyways.
He could have 100 chains. Maybe 300. Bang, bang.
300 bang bang.
Nah.
But anyways, he's not about that life. He's like, I only have 2 chains.
Yeah,
Only
exactly.
2 twains.
And then you look at like some of the older rappers. I'm sorry for anyone listening live. Our 7 live listeners, maybe, if we're lucky. But
look at live listeners. You don't make up the majority. You're not spreading the word. You're not telling your friends. You're not telling your family. So yeah, we are catering to the podcast listeners.
So podcast listeners, we were saying that like look at old school rappers like Slick Rick or like Eric B and Rakim or even Run DMC with their huge chains that they were wearing. Like those chains probably cost they're probably expensive for one.
Yeah.
But they probably weighed like 15 pounds maybe?
Yeah, probably.
You think so?
15 pounds. Is that what it cost or what it weighs?
Well, I don't know English costs. So, wait.
15 pounds seems
Wait.
very cheap.
Yeah, that'd probably be pretty cheap.
Yeah.
Slick Rick, actually, I don't know if you know anything about Slick Rick.
Slitchard Richard?
He's from England.
Is he?
Yeah. And if people don't know who Slick Rick is, definitely look him up. He's got some really good songs. I'd recommend Children's Story. It's a classic rap song if you haven't heard it.
All right.
Haven't heard it, Adam?
No. I have not. I'm sorry.
Well, this podcast...
I'm sorry I even came here today.
Leave!
I'm sorry I even came here today, but...
Oh, no, so it's all Gucci. Brr!
Is it?
Yeah. So anyway, the Bills. You're here with sports.
Sports.
We've actually done a pretty good job of talking about sports today, though.
Yeah, it did not... It definitely did not go the way last week went.
Like, last week just was really jumbled. I think it was a fine episode. I think it was entertaining.
I thought it was very entertaining.
Yeah.
I just don't know...
But we're calling ourselves sports, so maybe we should talk about how sports are going on.
Depends how you want to interpret sports. Because, like, you could be like, oh, man, those guys who talk about nothing related to sports are a bunch of good sports.
That's true.
They're a bunch of good sports about everything. So it could just be like sports. Or we could change the name of the show to like Chaps or Lads. Pals.
You're listening to Pals.
You're listening to Lads.
With 3 pals. 3 pals! Like
no, then people would think we were just talking about stuff you put sand inside of.
Your facial expression right now is great. I wish the podcast listeners could see it.
I feel like I have a nervous twitch that makes it look like I'm having like
Ebola?
a stroke or something.
Ebola?
Probably.
Okay, so the Bills.
The Bulls.
I do like the Chicago Bulls too, actually.
The Chicago Bills.
So anyway, the Bills. I wanted to talk about Marcel Darius. 3 sacks yesterday. That's pretty darn impressive.
Tis.
He was a dominant force, and this was without Kyle Williams today too. Yesterday.
Yeah.
And, I think Kyle Williams is probably the Bills' best defensive player. But Marcel, sweet baby Rays, he was great yesterday.
Isn't that barbecue sauce?
Yes.
Sounds pretty good right now.
I'm not really hungry right now, but it's a solid barbecue sauce.
I'm always hungry. You should know that about me by now.
Yeah. So, another Bills player I want to talk about real quick was Marquise Goodwin. And really, with Manuel, we didn't see Goodwin at all, like getting anything. He wasn't a part of the offense at all. Yesterday, had a great 42-yard pass play from Orden. And Marquise Goodwin, in terms of speed, if he's not the fastest wide receiver in the league, he's top 10 fast, I would say. He's a fast guy. Ran a 4.27 40, I believe.
Yeah, he's definitely impressive.
Definitely, yeah. And if we can get him the ball even occasionally on a deep play, that's going to be a good thing. I feel like that happened a bit last year. I thought he had some really good games, but then for whatever reason this year, part of it's injury, part of it's just Manuel just being Manuel, I guess.
Yeah.
But I think with Dave Grohl as our quarterback, we can get the best of you, Marquise Goodwin.
What is his permanent haircut? Because I've seen about 15 different pictures where he has about 15 different hairstyles.
Dave Grohl?
Yes.
Yeah, he's had the long hair with like Nirvana. He's had the long hair with the Foo Fighters with the goat. Also with the beard, then the short hair.
I'm talking about our quarterback.
Oh, I thought we were talking about actual Dave Grohl.
No, Dave Grohl, our quarterback.
Oh, Dave Grohl for the Buffalo Bills?
Yes.
I mean, people change their haircuts, so.
I know.
Then again, I haven't changed my haircut.
People always make fun of his haircut like it's always this like one unanimous thing. But there's like
his hair is pretty funny right now. He's got those like blonde streaks and it looks kind of weird.
Yeah.
It's sort of like a very like 90s look.
Yeah.
He might be stuck in the 90s.
He strikes me as the kind of dude. He strikes me as the kind of dude who would be stuck in. I bet he enjoys longboarding.
He probably really likes the band Everclear.
He probably loves ska music. Now that I think about it.
Well, I don't be hating on ska music. I love Sublime.
I was so ready to agree with you until you said you love Sublime.
You don't like Sublime?
No.
What?
I hate Sublime.
Why?
one, they're overplayed, and two,
Okay, I'll give you that.
I'm not a stoner. I have a job, and I go to school, and I do real things with my life.
Come on, Sublime's a good band.
They're over. Maybe they are. Maybe I'm just the one who's being a jerk here. But like,
You're wrong, Evan.
They're so overplayed.
Well, I mean, What I Got is pretty overplayed. I like that song, though. Santeria's overplayed, too, a bit.
And like, I've done like not recently, because let's
I'm not
let's
gonna
be
defend
honest.
all
There's
their
not
music.
anything super recent to dig through. But like, I've dug through some of their like catalog, like their B-sides and whatever. And there's some okay stuff,
Yeah.
but like nothing I would call like one of my favorite songs ever.
I would recommend their album Sublime. That's
Just,
one where
just the one where he has the back tattoo.
yeah, I think that's the best one personally. I can hook you up with it.
Some of their stuff's good, and then but I don't.
I mean that's with
Oh.
any band though.
They're
like,
not. They're
every-
not great.
I guess you're not in the reggae ska thing.
Oh, I can get down with some ska. You ever? I don't. I'm hesitant. I know they're not a dedicated ska band. Let me just say that. I'm going on record. I know they're not a ska band, but Rancid, where it's the punk
Yeah.
element with the ska element,
Yeah.
combined,
Yeah, they're pretty good.
the Boss Tones are pretty good.
Yeah, the
I
Mighty
enjoy
Boss
them.
Tones, yeah.
I don't know. I feel like there's some like
There's some terrible ska for
oh,
sure.
definitely. I feel like there's some like dude listening right now who's just like skanking, like listening to Planet Smashers, and he's like, "This dude knows nothing about ska," like with the checkered pants and everything.
Some Skank and Pickle. That's
Yeah.
an actual band.
Well, you know what skanking is, right?
No,
Have you ever seen that ska dance where they like lift up their knees and like do this?
no.
That's skanking.
Oh,
Yeah, that's an actual.
thing.
Yeah,
And they decide, okay, we're gonna name our band Skanking Pickle.
I have no idea where the pickle comes from.
They maybe like pickles.
Maybe.
You never know.
Yes, but I bet he.
What were we talking about before we? Oh, we were talking about Kyle Orton being stuck in the '90s.
Yes.
What do you think Kyle Orton's favorite TV show is? Do you think it's Friends? Do you think he's on the Jeremy train with Friends?
I'm gonna go dark horse. I bet it's Cheers.
Cheers.
Yep.
Yeah, probably. He just seems. Do you think he surfs? He probably surfs, right?
Probably. Who didn't in the 90s? Do you think he wears a puka shell necklace? I bet he does.
Is that one of those things that like baseball players used to wear?
Yeah.
One of those things.
The
Oh, the really tight ones, right?
yeah.
Yeah, he probably wears one of those. Where's Kyle Orton from? Is he from California?
I don't know. If he is, that fulfills every single stereotype I have about that man.
I think he might be. I don't know. Oh no, he went to Purdue, so maybe he's not. That's in like Illinois or something.
Altoona, Iowa.
Iowa. Huh. Oh, by the way, do you think Kyle Orton and Dan Carpenter are best friends?
Probably.
They seem. I mean, I think Dan Carpenter's a little bit more self-aware, maybe.
Maybe.
I love how we're just like dissecting Kyle Orton's personality and Dan Carpenter.
If we ever get Dan Carpenter on the show, I have the best.
I will change my name to Dan
I
Carpenter.
have the best question ever to ask him.
Well, let's hear it.
Okay.
Or do you want to say it when he comes on the show?
Well, no, I feel like I probably shouldn't have built it up as much as I did because now I feel like I have to say it.
Okay.
My mom came home with my dad from watching the game yesterday. They just went out to a bar to just watch the game, whatever. Obviously, Dan Carpenter does some amazing things at the end of the game, wins it for us. She comes home, and she's telling me, yeah, through so-and-so, we actually met Dan Carpenter on Thursday.
No.
Yes, they have a mutual friend, and they
He's
just...
friends with Dan Carpenter.
Yeah, because my parents like to like frequent like Springville, Boston, that area, like the southern tier, even compared to like Orchard Park or Hamburg.
Yeah.
And Dan Carpenter loves to hunt, I guess.
Yeah. I think I've heard
And
that before.
This mutual friend that he knows that my parents know, they owned a bar that was deep within like where a lot of hunters go.
Okay.
So they knew him. They talked to him on Thursday. My mom made a comment to him that said, "Oh yeah, back in the Bills' glory years," which, like Elaine, You're talking to a current Bills player. Why would you say something like that? But she said, oh yeah, back in the Bills' glory years, and she noticed like a look on his face, and she thought she had offended him. And then, flash forward 2-3 days later, smash cut, she was watching the game, does the amazing things at the end. She knows, oh, that's Dan Carpenter, that's the guy I talked to the other day. And she's like, I motivated him to win the game.
There we go.
No, you didn't, Elaine. No, you were just rude. If he ever like becomes amazing and like leaves Buffalo and wins another team a Super Bowl, and then some interviewer or some reporter asks him like, "Oh, why'd you leave Buffalo?" He'll be like, "Oh, because the people there were super rude and kept referring to the Bills' glory days." Then yeah, Mom, you can take credit for that one. But for the time being, you cannot take credit for having him win the game when he was one of the most motivated players to begin with.
Yeah, I mean, I think Dan Carpenter is just a really talented kicker.
Yeah.
He went to school in Montana. He might be. I don't know if he's from Montana, though.
Oh, that's how you know he's great, because like there's nothing else to do in Montana.
Yeah, I mean, you kick footballs.
I think that's the state with one of the highest suicide rates.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, shout out to Dan Carpenter for making it out of there.
Shout out to Montana for being number one.
Man, Montana. Can you imagine living in Montana?
I cannot.
I think I'd be driven crazy. I mean, I sort of like the outdoors and stuff, but I don't know, just like the lack of people and the amount of people that are like crazy.
Oh.
I just feel like there's a lot of crazy people in Montana.
Montana's number 4 based on a CDC report in 2010.
Who's number 1? Idaho? North Dakota? South Dakota?
This is where we get into a guessing game. I'll tell you if you can guess any of the top 3.
Okay, Idaho.
False.
North Dakota.
Negative.
South Dakota.
Nope.
Iowa?
No. Right now you haven't even named any of the top 10.
All right, New York.
No.
Texas.
No.
Alabama.
No.
Mississippi.
No.
Florida.
No.
California.
Nay.
Arizona.
Number 7.
Number 7. Yes. New Mexico.
Number 2.
Woo. Utah.
Number 9.
Washington.
No.
Oregon.
That's number 10.
Oh man.
Like up.
Canada.
Close.
Michigan.
No.
Wisconsin.
Do you give up yet?
Just tell me.
Alaska.
Oh.
Alaska in 2010 was the state with the most suicides, with 22.1 suicides per 100,000.
Huh.
Yeah. There you have it, folks. There is nothing to do in Alaska.
I also think Alaska has like the lowest amount of I think the male to woman ratio is like the really I don't even know how to describe this. I give up.
I have a term I'm ready to use, but I don't know if we want to keep this.
I don't know. Okay.
Super
So anyway, so we're gonna go. Oh man, I've just completely lost my train of thought. Should we go to a break?
No, we do.
I feel like
we do a lot of breaks.
So why don't we go to the Monday night game tonight? It's gonna be Seattle.
Dun 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 dun.
Bum 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 bum. Is that the right song?
Yeah, I was gonna do it while you were talking, but
oh,
I think we've exhausted that.
Okay. So yeah, the Seattle Seahawks versus the Washington Redskins. And Washington has really been kind of an up and down team, I would say. I think that's fair to say. Some weeks they've looked pretty good. Other weeks they've looked terrible. And I think they're going to look terrible tonight. It just does not look good. Kirk Cousins had a bad week last week against the Giants. And Seattle has a significantly better defense and offense than the Giants do.
Yeah, I really hate to be negative, but I think that seems pretty one-sided tonight.
Yeah, I would think... You think it's going to be another late night game blowout? Because every single late night game has been a blowout this year.
Yeah.
Like every single one of them. 40 points for Seattle, you think? 35 points?
Definitely 30. I don't know about 40.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're going to tear them up, though. There's no doubt in my mind.
Speaking of being torn up, let's talk about San Diego yesterday.
Oh, San Diego, man. They're on a roll.
Yeah.
They're really good. I'm really impressed with the Chargers. Like, there's no shame in losing to them right now.
No.
Because Phillip Rivers he's on another level. I think Phillip Rivers, this is a bold statement. I think he's a top 5 quarterback this year.
Oh, for sure. For sure.
I don't think there's any doubt. He's incredible. I love watching him play. I didn't like watching him play against the Bills, but every other week he's a great player to watch.
Yeah.
And I mean, if you look at his weapons, Keenan Allen is pretty good, but he had a good year last year anyway.
Yeah, they just smoked him. What was it, 31-0?
Yeah, 31-0 against the Jets. And UB product, Brandon Oliver, the running back, I think had 182 total yards and 2 touchdowns. This guy was the 4th string running back to start the year. Against the Jets, who have a really good run defense. They had, I believe, a top 5 run defense last year. Well, I mean, that's what the passing does to you, because when you're that worried about Phillip Rivers throwing 400 yards on you, then you're going to worry about that, I guess.
UB, good football school or no?
No.
Your opinion?
No.
I feel like we hear... I mean, I agree with you, and for the most part, no.
We've had some good players.
But I feel like you hear some big stars coming out of there every now and then.
Like Khalil Mack. He's
not stars, but some
like
big names.
Players, yeah. Khalil Mack, I think, is going to be probably the best to come out of UB in a while. Just because he was drafted top 5, so. And he's with Oakland, so he's going to get some opportunities. James Starks, I think, before he got hurt in college, I think he was being hyped up as a first-round pick. And he's been pretty good. Not great, but he's a fine player. Like, he's a fine number 2 running back, I'd say. Then this guy, Brandon Oliver, seems pretty good. Who knows if he can stick around, though. It's especially tough at running back to stick anywhere.
I feel like it's hard to get excited for UB football the way any other market would get excited for their football team, their college football team.
Yeah. Just don't have a whole lot of success. We've been in, 2 bowl games? I think.
Yeah, didn't we? I know we lost the one. Did we lose the
Yeah,
other?
we lost the one against Connecticut a couple years ago. Were we in a bowl game recently with Khalil Mack? I don't even know. I say we like we're part of the team. We're not a part of UB.
I don't think anyone wants to be part of that team.
Yeah, I mean, Khalil Mack's just thinking that he's just with the Raiders now.
Yeah.
Doing so much better.
Probably.
At least he's getting paid.
Yeah, that's true. I don't know. I don't. It's hard to get excited for UB.
It is.
Because granted, they're a Division I school.
Mm-hmm.
But
they don't play like it.
No,
they're just bad.
We're probably the Jags of the Division I. You know what I mean? I know they do have the fan support. I'm not saying that, but
I don't even think we're the Jags. We're more like the Titans.
Yeah, we're not,
because they're not consistently that bad, but they're never
great.
Yeah, they're just really mediocre every year.
Yeah,
or even on the bad side of mediocre, really. I would say.
Oh, for sure.
For sure.
For sure.
For sure.
For sure.
Fisher.
Huey Lewis.
Huey Lewis. This is my son, Huey Lewis. He's strong.
Guys, next week, show's going to be about Huey Lewis the way it was about Dan Carpenter today.
Yeah, we're just going to watch the movie Borat live and make comments on it.
You guys think we're joking? But we've actually been talking about this for about a week now.
Well, we talked about one day last week. And we talked about
that is about a week.
Yeah. That's pretty much a week.
We're probably not going to do it, but what? We're definitely someday.
Yeah, someday when we really blow up and we're like Bill Simmons. That's actually my goal. I want to be like Bill Simmons, kind of. Just have my own media empire. How cool would that be?
Pretty sweet, but at the same time you have to answer to ESPN, so that would suck.
Yeah, that's the bad thing about that, because I feel like he's the type of person who's going to speak his mind, but he can't fully speak his mind because of ESPN. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Why do I feel like some of the people who work for ESPN that are like the most relatable and likable are the ones that don't stick around very long?
Like
Or not don't stick around very long, but are always like being put down.
Yeah.
Like, Bill Simmons, obviously he's stuck around, but like he's not.
Like he can't speak his mind.
I feel like
so.
ESPN doesn't value him as much as they should.
Yeah, because I mean he actually created 30 for 30, which is a really big deal.
That's huge.
He's got his own website, Grantland, which is really successful. It's got a collection of some of the best writers,
But
sports writers.
I feel like the faces that represent ESPN. Oh, Michelle Beadle, another name you could probably toss in there. I mean,
Yeah.
I know she's back with ESPN now, but she was extremely likable, and like they just relegated her to ESPN too.
Yeah, well, that was a popular show too.
Yeah, and then, but like you think of the faces of ESPN, so to speak, and they're not like terribly likable people.
Like Skip Bayless for one.
Like the only thing I can think of that Stephen A. Smith has done that I've liked
I like Stephen A. Smith sort of.
is an Oberto commercial.
See, Stephen A. Smith is kind of weird. to me.
He's good when he's not talking sports. But like
he just seems so angry. And have you ever seen
so
that?
angry about the most random things.
My close personal friend Kobe Bryant.
The SNL skit this week.
Yeah, the SNL skit. Was it? Did they do this one?
They did
This
it Saturday.
I'll have to look that up because I love those. Because Jay Farrow does such a good job with that.
Yeah.
My close personal friend.
You know who
He
I
gets
hate?
super
You
angry.
know who I hate more than anyone at ESPN? Colin Cowherd.
Colin Cowherd.
Yeah.
Not a fan really either.
No, he strikes me as very uninformed on what he goes off on.
Yeah, kind of.
Because at least with like, I guess you could argue the same for Bayless, but at least with Stephen A. Smith, like
So he knows his stuff.
he's not uninformed. He's just passionate.
He's just really really passionate.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like Skip Bayless at all. I think he's an idiot.
Yeah.
Did you ever see the Richard Sherman thing with Skip Bayless?
Is that the one where Richard Sherman?
Says he's better at life.
Yeah, and he like goes off on this very like well-spoken, educated rant
Yeah, like
towards him. Yeah.
And Skip Bayless just, I mean, I don't think necessarily Richard Sherman's what he said was necessarily right. But, I mean, in terms of the way he handled himself much better than Skip Bayless.
You know,
for
the
sure.
second Richard Sherman gets a career-ending injury or retires, they want him there.
They do. Yeah.
They want him at ESPN to do Sports Center and
What are
game day
your
coverage.
thoughts on Richard Sherman? Do you like him? Are you on the Sherman train?
There's no doubt that he's particularly last year, he was absolutely
He's a
unstoppable.
great player.
This year he's kind of lost a little bit, but he's still very good.
I mean, he'll be definitely someone to watch tonight, I think.
But I assume you're talking about like his off-field persona?
Yeah, or just like his interview with Aaron Andrews last year. Stuff like that.
I can say, as someone who's watched wrestling his entire life, that promo he cut on Aaron Andrews was better than anything I've ever seen half those wrestlers say on the microphone.
It was pretty great.
It's like
honestly.
Steve Austin, CM Punk, and then Richard Sherman's in at number 3.
And he wasn't wrong by saying that either.
No, everything he said, albeit very in your face, was completely justified.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't call Michael Crabtree a sorry receiver necessarily, but it was the heat of the moment. Those two don't like each other. They've gotten in fights before.
Yeah.
Like off the field, they don't like each other. Heat of the moment. They just won the Super Bowl. Of course, well, not the Super Bowl, the NFC Championship, and they don't like each other. So I don't blame them for saying, I'm the best corner in the league. You got to respect me. Don't put a sorry receiver like Crabtree on me.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I sort of like Richard Sherman more for saying that, because he's not afraid to speak his mind. And I sort of like those type of players that, I don't know, they're just not afraid, they don't back down, they have a lot of passion. I sort of like that type of player.
Oh, for sure.
Because, I mean, you watch certain players and they just have no, personality, they don't, care that much. That's, the worst thing, I think.
Have you ever... I hate to knock other players, especially the Bills, but have you ever seen the Kiko in the kitchen thing?
Kiko Alonso?
Yeah.
I think Kiko's funny, personally.
He's funny, but there's this video that Top Supermarket put out in cooperation with Campbell Soup,
Mm-hmm.
and it's Kiko Alonso making chicken wing dip. He's just very like monotone and dry for the whole thing. Like,
Well, English is actually a second language. You know that?
even my friends in Buffalo love the hotness of this chicken wing dip.
It's his second language, though. Did you know that?
Is it?
Yeah. His first language is Spanish.
Oh wow. Well, he was well spoken. It just fell flat.
I mean, yeah, that might just be his personality. I think that's was like his sort of reputation, kind of like being kind of a quiet guy. But did you ever see him mic'd up?
No.
He was mic'd up last year for one of the games. I think it was against the Chiefs, I want to say. And it was funny. He kept like growling and stuff after tackles. It's like, it was one of the funniest things I've seen. I loved it.
Those are always a good watch, those mic'd up videos.
Yeah, they can be. Some of them are really boring, though, because you just hear the tackling sounds and it's kind of boring. But well, another one that I thought was good was Booby Dixon. He's a really...
I've never seen his.
They showed him during one of the preseason games. He's a really charismatic guy. I would even call him a leader on the Bills a little bit. He doesn't play that much, but
The Bills definitely need a unanimous, well-respected leader.
I think it's Fred Jackson.
Is he the player on the team with the most tenure with the Bills?
It would be him, Kyle Williams. Yeah, him and Kyle Williams, I think.
Wow. Because
Yeah, but Jackson's been there since 2007. Kyle Williams has been there since 2006.
I know
2007.
Leotis is up there too, but
Yeah, Leotis 2008, I think.
so yeah, off by a year. Still though.
Leotis McKelvin, I don't know what to think about him as a player. He's a weird player to me. I think Corey Graham should definitely be playing over him. It
For
doesn't
sure.
make any sense that we're not playing Corey Graham because he's been really good this year, but he's barely playing. Doesn't make any sense. I mean, Leotis is okay, but I don't know. Corey Graham just looked really good. You know what I'm saying?
I know what you're saying.
All right, should we go off the rails, Owen? Do you want to go off the rails?
I've been waiting all show to go off the rails.
We're at an hour and 17 minutes, so it's pretty much just sports talk. That's decent.
I think we're owed a crap week next week then.
Well, next week, we don't even know if we're going to be live streaming because we're off of school.
Yes, this is true. We do not have school next week, so either the show is going to be recorded earlier, moved to Wednesday.
Yeah, we're gonna do something.
Or-
We'll figure it out for sure. Maybe Monday, maybe Wednesday, Tuesday,
Just
Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Every day.
guys, just let us get to it.
Yeah, just
We'll do it.
just calm down.
We'll do it. Just stop.
Fans, calm down.
Guys, stop yelling at me. We'll do it. Okay? We good? Okay.
All right, let's talk about some different things. Dr. Oz, Dr. Phil, who wins in a fight? We talked about this earlier.
I said Dr. Phil because his trash talk game would be insane.
Definitely, and because I think Dr. Phil is quite a bit bigger than Dr. Oz. I would think. I don't know. I've never seen them either in person, but Dr. Oz just kind of, I don't know, not that impressive in terms of physique. I'm not saying Dr. Phil's like a physical specimen, but I think he's a bigger dude.
Oh,
He's got a huge head.
Dr. Oz looks like he could get broken. He looks like the kind of guy who would only win fights because he specializes in like some obscure martial art.
I can see Dr. Oz just being a martial artist probably. Sort of gives up that laid back kind of vibe.
I feel like
Whose show would you rather watch, Dr. Phil or Dr. Oz?
I would rather put a gun to my head. I would rather live in Alaska.
All right, you got a gun to your head. They're asking you, Dr. Phil, Dr. Oz. It's the only thing you can watch for the next 20 years.
Dr. Phil, because I feel like his show has the tendency to get a little bit more Maury or Jerry Springer like.
Yeah, I would agree because I think Dr. Oz is kind of dry.
Yeah.
Like he was better just as this is gonna sound so strange. He was better as Oprah's sidekick, I think.
I forgot about that.
Like he used to have those little segments on Oprah. Not that I watched Oprah, but
Let's be real here. We are two children who came home from school, and
Yeah.
their mom was watching daytime television.
yeah, don't be hating. So yeah, I feel like he was better as a sidekick, kind of. You know,
Yeah.
Dr. Phil kind of stands on his own.
That mustache stands on its own.
All right, since Jeremy's not here, we're gonna do another battle, rap battle. Riff Raff, Lil B.
Oh, wow.
Think Lil B could get a little bit more personal?
I feel like Lil B does not know where he is half the time.
Lil B follows me on Twitter, just in case you guys
Shut
didn't.
up.
Evan knows this for sure. I've told him.
I feel like Riff Raff knows, like, his trash talk game would be better because he knows he's probably more self-aware than Lil B.
Yeah, maybe a little.
I feel like Lil B would just laugh the whole thing off and just be super confused the entire time.
Well, in Lil B's diss on Kevin Durant, I mean, as much as I love
It's
that
honestly
song,
probably one of my favorite hip-hop songs of the past year.
but he's not really dissing Kevin Durant that much. You know what I mean?
No, he even admits he's never seen him play.
Which is hilarious because Kevin Durant is like such a good player, and Lil B claims to be. He's got a mixtape called Hoop Life and another one called Bass Jam, and he tried out for the Golden State Warriors. So you think he's a basketball fan, but he's never seen Kevin Durant? Shout out to Lil B though. We love you, Bass God. Thank you, Bass God.
Thank you, Bass God, for the everything you've bestowed upon us.
For real though, his song "I Love You," by Lil B, one of the most touching songs ever.
I feel like Lil B has the advantage of Task Force and the Bass Squad.
Probably he's got more of a fan base than
Yeah.
Riff Raff at this point.
Yeah.
Although Riff Raff is coming up though. I mean, Tiptoeing in My Jaws was pretty big.
Yeah, the fact that you watched the VMAs this past year and it's like,
Yeah, he went
Lorde,
there with Katy
Miley
Perry.
Cyrus, Katy Perry, and then Riff Raff
Yeah,
right in
Riff
the
Raff.
front row on camera at all times.
Like I can't see Lil B doing that exactly.
No, I can't see Lil B dating Katy Perry.
He's actually got a song called Katy Perry.
He has a song called Everything. I'm pretty sure he just ran.
Oh,
through
that's
the,
true.
Pretty sure he just ran through the dictionary and made a song for everything.
Or like just looked up names of celebrities, or just like I don't know, Googled celebrities.
yeah.
Just made a song based on that.
Lil B.
What if there was an actual beef between those two? That how entertaining would that be? I feel like that
That'd
would
be the
divide a lot
most
of people.
entertaining thing in the world.
It really would.
Lil B is the kind of guy. He's basically the personification of the American dream. Because
Definitely.
like if you try hard enough, you'll eventually succeed.
Even if you're like not necessarily good at what you do.
If you're persistent, never give up. Yeah, he made a ton of music. Like
Exactly.
a ton of music. I don't know anyone who's even listened to a fraction of his entire
Oh
catalog.
yeah, he's got thousands of songs. Like maybe more than anyone, honestly.
Yeah. And it's unbelievable.
And he gives it all away for free. I don't even know how he makes money.
I couldn't tell you.
And it's not like you hear about like Lil B concerts anywhere.
Even-
really.
I have a friend who holds Lil B in the same esteem that like I hold Pearl Jam or you hold Kanye or like people hold the Beatles or the Rolling Stones or something. Went to his concert in Rochester, met him,
Really.
got the picture blown up at a Walgreens.
But did he get
Framed
found by
it.
Lil B on Twitter?
I have no idea.
You should find that out.
I think so. I'm not positive though.
Then again, I think meeting the bass god would be better than being followed by him.
Yeah. But
Both are pretty great, not gonna lie.
yeah.
I'm doing pretty good right now.
But he drove to Rochester to see him and met him. He met his hero and he framed the picture.
I would too. Lil B's the man. I love Lil B.
I think we all love Lil B.
Lil B loves all of us. The bass god loves you. All
So
right. Any
we
other
have-
battles we can
We
think
have
of?
Lil B winning this one.
I feel like having the fan base kind of helps with Lil B. But who? It's sort of hard to say in that with like a rap battle who really wins it. Do you ever hear this? Do you ever hear the Jay-Z Nas battle type things? Do you ever hear the song Ether?
No.
Oh well, have you heard the term ether?
Yes.
Like people say, like this guy ethered him, because Nas made this song called Ether, where he just like rips apart Jay-Z pretty much. Definitely look that up.
Okay.
I can't say half the things he says on air because it's really bad, but he really goes at Jay-Z.
Why do they have hard shell tacos but not hard shell burritos?
That's a good question.
Don't ask me the logistics of it. It's just 2014. These kind of things should be able to
Like
be
we
done.
can put men in space. Why can't we get a hard shell burrito?
We can put men in space. We can put a black man in office. Why can't we make a hard shell burrito?
Asking the hard-hitting questions today on sports.
Right?
Definitely.
Why have dessert burritos not come into their own yet?
Also good
They
question.
exist, but
Because sometimes with the dessert stuff like that,
why is
it
the
can be
man
pretty
holding
good.
them down?
It can be pretty good. Like ever have the cinnamon breadsticks at Pizza Hut?
Yes,
Those are pretty good.
they're fantastic.
You feel terrible after eating them.
Oh, I feel terrible anytime I eat Pizza Hut, but
Pizza Hut's
Pizza
not
Hut,
that
if
bad.
you're listening, please give us an endorsement.
Yeah, definitely.
I may feel terrible after I eat you, but it's nothing like 20 minutes in your bathroom can't handle.
Definitely. The Pizza Hut breadsticks, I'm going to go out on a limb. Say they're better than Olive Gardens.
Weird fact about me, I've only been to Olive Garden once.
Me too. High five.
Breadsticks were the only memorable part of the experience.
Yeah, the rest of it was really average.
I was not, no.
Although if Olive Garden threw us some stacks, I would change my opinion right away.
Olive Garden, if you're listening, just hit us up. Like, just hit us up. Like, we want breadsticks.
Yeah, if you want to just deliver.
Pizza Hut, don't
Breadsticks?
let that deter you. It's a race, buddy. Like,
Yeah.
whoever gets here first. Boom.
Definitely.
We're wearing the swag, we're wearing the t-shirts, we're wearing the hats. Like,
I will wear all Olive Garden or all Pizza Hut gear all day, every day.
I'll get Pizza Hut tattooed across my chest like Thug Life. Like, I don't care. I have no standards. I'm 20.
I will get a slice of pizza with the word Pizza Hut tattooed on my face like Gucci Mane has that ice cream thing on his face.
I'm 20. The things I'll do for free food are just
Endless.
horrifying, to be honest.
All right.
Pizza Hut, I will get a teardrop on my face colored in to look like a piece of pizza.
All right.
Because I killed that pizza. I'm sorry, are you trying to say something?
Yeah, sorry. All right. Your opinion, best free side at any restaurant ever. I've got mine in head right now.
Go ahead.
It's pretty obvious to me. Are you thinking what I'm thinking?
I want to know what you're thinking.
On the count of three. One,
2, 3. Red
Cheddar
Lobster
Bay
biscuits. Yes!
Woo! High five.
We said it differently, but yeah, why wouldn't that be number one?
I don't know. Those things are amazing.
So
Like,
good.
I will tell my friends who don't eat fish, you need to go to Red Lobster to get these biscuits.
Like, they have chicken nuggets there. Just get those.
Yeah.
Yeah,
These biscuits are unreal. Red Lobster, if you're listening.
Red Lobster, hit us up.
Please. Please, Red Lobster.
Red Lobster.
Please.
Like, we'll kick Pizza Hut and Olive Garden. You know what, Olive Garden, you took too long to respond. We don't even want you here.
we just
Pizza
want
Hut,
Red Lobster right now.
Red Lobster, just hit us up. Just do it.
I will get the lobster tattooed as a tramp stamp
Me too.
with the words Cheddar Bay biscuits for life.
I'll get the surgery to get additional fingers so I can spell that out on my knuckles. I'll have an obscene amount of fingers, but it'll be worth it for the free food.
Definitely.
And don't tell us the biscuits are free to begin with, because they're not. I have to order other food when I go in there.
Can you just get a drink and you'll get the biscuits, or what do you think?
I don't know, but do you really want to be that guy?
No.
No.
And Red Lobster is pretty decent, I'd say.
Yeah, they're definitely
fine.
worth going to.
Yeah. And the biscuits just put them over the top, for sure.
Not my first choice, but if someone suggests, hey, you want to go there? I'll be like, yeah, hell yeah, let's biscuits.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't go there like every day or anything because
I would if they endorsed us.
If they endorsed us, I would go there every single day.
We'll rename this Red Lobster Sports.
Biscuit Sports,
Biscuit Sports. Cheddar Bay Sports.
the Cheddar Bay Packers.
I want Red Lobster now.
I'm sorry.
Olive Garden, you still suck though. Don't come back to us for an endorsement deal.
Do you want to rip on Olive Garden real quick? 'Cause
Hell yeah, I want to rip on Olive Garden.
I don't like Olive Garden.
Boom!
I just don't like it.
Boom!
I mean, I went there. I looked at the menu.
Oh!
Okay, this is, pretty standard Italian stuff, but none of the names make sense to me.
Boom!
They got this weird chunky marinara sauce that I don't like. Is that how you say it, marinara?
Yeah, probably.
I don't even know.
Boom!
I didn't like it. I've only been there once. Didn't like it.
Yeah.
Personally, I thought the breadsticks were a little overrated. People hype these things up.
Went there once, didn't have to go back.
Exactly.
Was not a fan.
Yeah, sorry, Red Lobster. I did not mean that. Yeah, Olive Garden. We don't like you.
Olive Garden?
Unless you sponsor us, then we love you.
Olive Garden, more like I'll leave Garden.
Definitely. More like Olive Garden.
Olive Garden, more like poop.
Yeah!
Whoa!
Woo!
That was good. I thoroughly enjoyed that.
Definitely. All right. Should we end the show, you think?
I think we should end the show. That was a very strong note to go out on.
Really, it was. This is one of our strongest episodes for sure.
For sure.
We mixed the Bills talk with some Cheddar Bay biscuit talk. And who doesn't want to talk about Cheddar Bay biscuits? Let's be honest here.
Right?
And we incorporated some music stuff too. So, and we didn't really get too off topic.
I'm going to go visit Jeremy in the hospital now.
Yeah, he's got Ebola. Hashtag free Big Lurch. Hashtag free Jeremy from Ebola. Don't free Big Lurch though. If you don't
No,
know,
we want a free Big Large.
we're gonna start that trend. All right. Well, Burr, it's Gucci.
Free Big Large.
All right. So we'll see you next week at a certain
Yeah,
time.
we'll do something.
Yeah, we'll do something for sure. Because we got to give the people what they want, as Jalen Rose would say.
We gotta fight the powers that be.
Exactly. So we'll see you next week at some point. Thank you for listening, and I'm Dan Carpenter.
I'm also Dan Carpenter.
And we are all at Dan Carpenter.
Free Big Large.
Good night.